right, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. I finally, for the first time in about a month, I think it is, I left the house to meet some friends. I did my other podcast, the Oppression Chamber podcast today. Went to the studio, and I hadn't realized it until I was driving over there. I literally haven't seen a friend in person for over a month. Well over a month. And I'm going to tell you, it almost made no difference to my life at all. I could have easily done another 6 weeks. So we went into the studio. It was me and 3 other comedians. They haven't lifted the restrictions here, but who gives a fuck now, like, to be honest with you. I was inspired by those Americans who got out there, broke isolation, and got really in the fucking nurses' faces. Actor, fake fucking nurses. You frauds, you fakes. Crazy shit. That's where the new divide and rule is going to be. The divide and rule is going to be people who want their rights back, who want their goddamn rights back, and people who are like, stay inside, listen to the experts, listen to scientists. We need to save the population. I don't agree with either side. I reckon you should just ignore all of it. The Australian government today just came out with the COVID-19 tracking app. They want everyone to download this app, and it tracks everywhere you're going and lets you know if you've come close to anyone with COVID-19. Thank you, government. Thank you for looking after us. They haven't forced you to download the app yet. It's still full restrictions. Where are they going to fucking track you? Into the toilet. They reckon they want 50% of the population to download it, and then they'll start thinking about lifting some restrictions. And that's the 50%. That's the divide and rule. 50% will download it, and they'll be like, I don't want to be outside with anyone who doesn't have the tracking app. What if I walk past someone with COVID-19? Why do I have to be put in danger? Me and my family, my young children, why do we have to be put in danger because someone else isn't doing the right thing? And the other side of that coin is, I have constitutional rights that say I have the freedom to move around in places in the public domain. Always that constitutional guy, he always gets his facts wrong. I'm allowed to move around in the public sphere. And if you look at the 6th change in the civil law writs, you'll see clearly that no state or government body can impending on my rights. It's like, can those two just shoot each other and leave us in the middle? Why does the middle have to be so affected by those two fuckwits? I'm not even the middle, by the way. I am both of those extremes on any given day. Just depends what mood I'm in. If I want to leave the house, then I'm like, my constitutional rights are being violated. If my wife asks me to do something, I'm like, listen, it's a dangerous world out there. It's an invisible enemy. If it's about putting my kid back into childcare, it's like, listen, we just have to keep living our normal life, not let this affect us. If it's about me going back to work, it's like, I don't want to be part of the problem. I do not want to add to the sum total of misery in the world. Anyway, that's not the point. We're here. It's Monday. It's Hypothetical Monday today, and I got sent a few hypotheticals. I'll see if I can get through a couple. All right, this hypothetical was sent in by my good friend Evan Hocking, comedian, television star. I think he was pretty fucking drunk when he sent these in because they're not very balanced. All right, so his first hypothetical is, if you had to, would you rather lick your mum's tits every day for the rest of your life or fuck your grandma once? I would like to do both, to be honest with you. What I'd like to do is get my mum and my grandma together and go, listen, I have to do this. I'm happy to do either. I am more than happy to do either. And then when they're together, I'll just explain to them, listen, Mum, I can lick your tits every day for the rest of my life. Or Nana, I can rock your world, but only once. Unfortunately, I can only do that once. Now, I'm going to leave the room and you two have a little discussion and figure it out for yourselves and come back to me. So that one was easy. Then he sent a second one. He's like, would you rather have to jerk your dad off once a week for the rest of your life or fuck your mum once. And I was just thinking, does Evo want to fuck his mum? Are they the hints he's thrown out there? That's a bit skewed, isn't it? You have to jerk your dad off once a week for the rest of your life or fuck your mum once. That sounds like someone who wants to fuck their mum and just needs a good enough excuse to. Hey, I was forced to. It was either that or jerk my dad off once a week for the fucking rest of my life. Sometimes you just have to make the best of a bad situation. So I'm like, Evo must want to fuck his mum. So I started looking on his Instagram for like photos of his mum. And I found a photo. There was a photo of Evo's mum and Evo's dad together at some event. And I was like, fuck. She's a bit of a fucking old smoker. I wouldn't mind giving her one. And then I had a good look at his dad too. I was like, you know what? I could picture myself jerking him off once a week for the rest of my life as well. Which makes the hypothetical much harder. What would I rather do? Would I like to jerk off Evo's dad once a week for the rest of my life, or give his mum just one real good one? Now that's a real tough one. It's too hard to decide. I'd like the same thing to happen. I'd like to get them both in the room at the same time, explain the situation. Your son is forcing me to do this or do that. Now, again, I'm happy to do them both, but you're going to have to take a few minutes and decide for yourself. And I think after a little bit of discussion, Evo's dad's going to come back and just go, Boyle, we've had a little bit of a chat, and I think we're going to go with the once a week for the rest of your life. Cheers, mate. We might as well get started now, eh? All right. All right. That is it for me tonight. Hit me up on social media, subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends about it, share it around. See you the fuck later.